Hey everyone, I just wanted to make a very quick update video. Um, I went to the cardiologist today. I followed up with the actual cardiologist, not the nurse practitioner, because we all know that me and her just apparently no longer get along. But that's okay. So, I got great news, or at least what I view as pretty great news. Uh, he told me I didn't have to wear heart monitors anymore. Or I could not wear heart monitors anymore. And to me, that's just fabulous. um, I've probably worn 15 or so, maybe more, the last year and a half. So I've worn my fair share. Um, but I was actually straight, like flat up, and I was just like, I was supposed to wear the heart monitor until today, until after I saw him, and I didn't. I actually sent it back to the company like a week ago. It was like the Friday after Thanksgiving. I was just like, I am done with this machine. Um, but I've broken out literally, and I would show y'all, but it's pretty covered right now. Hives all over the front of my trunk and the back. My back's covered too from wearing the heart monitor. So, yeah, Jessica's done. Not doing it, and he said I would probably keep reacting to it for the next couple weeks, so this should be fun, because I am about to go up the wall with itching, but he put me on a bunch of Benadryl, and he told me if it keeps getting worse, then he'll put me on, like, prednisone or something. But I'm supposed to call, he won't be in the office, so he told me to call my PCP and be like, this is what happened. So, but yeah, 2 weeks ago, also, they had checked like my electrolyte levels, and as normal, my potassium and my magnesium came back low. um, but that's pretty normal for me. I do take potassium and magnesium supplements, so they upped them, and I didn't tolerate it, so they redid tests yesterday. I had to go get blood drawn, so they had it today, and they're still low, but they came up a little bit, so he knows I'm trying. And he's not overly concerned because they're not nearly as low as they were, and they didn't get lower. I mean, that was his concern, was whether or not they would get lower or come up a little bit, and they came up a little bit. I'm still not in a normal range by any means. I'm still pretty far off, but he's not concerned, so I'm okay with that. Um, sorry. But see, what else did he say? The heart monitor was interesting. And what I really love about Dr. Fox is he's very down to earth. Very down to earth. And he sees there's three, I believe it's three other students in town that, like college students, like people my age who have the same, well, sort of same issues. They have POTS, but they don't have the tachybrady part as well. But they do have POTS. And he sees them as well. So I feel very confident in him, and I really trust his judgment. And today, he always compares me to a car, which is really funny. And his analogy is you have, let's see if I can do this. You have like the brakes and the gas, and in a normal person, you're just doing this. Like this is like the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, and they're just like slowly this. And he says you're kind of like this, and he compared me today to a car. I can't remember what car he told me. I was like, but the cars in it was 1959, and you hit the gas and you just go really fast. But if you hit the brakes, the entire car locks up and it jerks. Stop. And cars don't do that nowadays. They have anti-lock systems on the brakes, so it doesn't just jerk like that and stop. So he compared me to the 1959 cars because that's essentially what happens. And we saw this in the heart monitor I was wearing and some of the stuff that I uploaded. The range for my heart rate was, the lowest I got was 34, and I was conscious. I was awake. I was actually watching TV, and I was just like, ooh, I don't feel good. And the highest I got was like 178. And every time I would record, I would lay down, like as soon as I recorded, and or hit, like right before I would record or whatever, I would lay down because I was just really symptomatic. And like, what would happen, like, and I'm not kidding, like we went through every single, like all, I think I recorded like 22 things just so I had, he could be happy. When we recorded it all, we went through every single one. And what would happen, like for one, I was like 150s the entire time in the strip. And at one point, it went from like 150s and it dropped to the 60s. And that's just where it maintained, was the 60s. And it didn't, with me, it doesn't gradually slow. I just stop and I pick up slower speeds, which is where the 1959 car comes in. Because essentially what happens is my heart rate skyrockets, like you're hitting the gas, but then when you hit the brake, and in the 1959 car where it locks, that's where my heart rate just drops back down to like any rhythm that's much slower. And I have a huge drop in these heart rates, which is what causes me to be so symptomatic. And he said at the same time that's what's causing my blood pressure to drop, is because it has that spike sort of, but then it drops. And another analogy he used, which I thought was phenomenal, because I have a lot of time standing still, and I try not to stand still at any time. And he told me that basically, I can think of it as like this: when you're standing, my heart rate thinks I'm working out really, like my body thinks, my nervous system, my autonomic nervous system thinks I am working out extremely hard to stand up, and that's why my heart rate gets up to the 160s, 170s at times when I'm standing. But if I'm not moving while I'm standing, it takes a few minutes and my body thinks that I'm literally laying, or I'm sleeping, or I'm doing something but not standing up. And it essentially goes, oh, wait, we're not doing anything. And it goes to sleep, and that's where I drop. And he said, and that's why I physically drop. And I just laughed because it makes so much sense to me that when I stand for so long, my heart rate skyrockets, and then I can just feel it drop it. Like, it just, it's horrible. But just to be able to actually see this, like, on, like, an EKG type strip was really interesting, because even working at the hospital, when you're watching the heart monitors, like, patients' heart rates slow, like, they slow down. None of them just, automatically drop like half the beats in a matter of like a second. So it was interesting to actually see it and be like, wow, that's actually what my body's doing, and that's really kind of weird. So we're still not really doing anything for it. I'm supposed to do what I can. He wants me to be as active as I can. He was like, if you feel like going for a run, go for a run. He was like, you know what your body can do, and go with it. So I thought that was really good, because most people are like, well, take it slow, take it easy, especially the nurse practitioner was just like, you can't do anything. So he wanted me to actually do things, and he said, when you get symptomatic, you need to sit down, you need to lay down, and that's what you need to do. He said normally he would have put someone on a beta blocker, but college students do not tolerate beta blockers very well, is what he's told me. And apparently he said he's learned this over the years. He's in his 50s, so, sorry, I'm moving the camera. And I trust his judgment very well with that, and I do agree. I do feel more sluggish and tired when I'm on a beta blocker. But the problem with me is I can't really take a beta blocker. Well, yeah, he would really appreciate I don't do this, like a huge roller coaster, just kind of like a little one, would be okay for a normal person, because ideally he thinks we should try to lower it, but we can't. A beta blocker would help with the really high heart rates, but since I drop, he's afraid that I'll drop too much, especially if my heart rate drops into the 30s and I'm on a beta blocker. My heart rate will drop into the 20s, and that's when I really start having problems. So I'm not doing that. I do go and see my electrophysiologist in 2 weeks, and so we're going to see what he says. He might decide to go ahead and put me on a beta blocker just to not have these gaps or these drops of like 70, 80, 90 beats, and try to cut down the crazy symptoms with that. But otherwise, it's been interesting. I've been taking it really easy. Well, easy for me. I still try to do a lot. I try to go out every day. I try to do something, but I can't sit at home and I can't do anything. So right now I'm just really praying that when I go and see the electrophysiologist that we have a solid game plan, compared to, we're both cardiologists are working, because I found out today the cardiologist I see in Boone at one point was leaving because the cardiology clinic is being taken over by the hospital rather than the company that currently has it, or the hospital that currently has it. And it had been said, and I had heard from the cardiologist himself, that he was leaving. And today he told me he wanted me to come see him in 3 months. So that was really exciting, because I was like, he's not leaving right now. And I can breathe easier, because it really freaked me out. I'll just tell you that. Just the idea of not having a cardiologist that I could reach at all times. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on at my end. I really can't think of anything else. It's pretty late, and I have a lot of Benadryl in my system, so I'm really tired. I'm really hoping this rash goes away. So I itch like crazy. So yeah, I hope everyone is doing well and enjoying the wonderful December weather. Maybe winter can stay off for a little bit. So anyway, I will talk to y'all later.